The night was supposed to be smooth, charming, and filled with laughter, but something in the air felt off from the moment Pierce Brosnan stepped onto Jimmy Fallon's stage. The audience cheered, the band played, and Jimmy smiled as always, yet those closest to the set later claimed Pierce's body language hinted at tension. His smile appeared practiced, his eyes scanning rather than settling, as if he already sensed the conversation was heading somewhere uncomfortable. What followed would quickly spiral into one of the most talked-about late-night moments in recent memory. Jimmy Fallon opened the interview with light banter, joking about Pierce's legendary James Bond status and his ageless charisma. At first, Pierce played along, offering polite laughs and short responses, but insiders say the tone shifted when Jimmy attempted to pivot toward Pierce's personal life, referencing old rumors and tabloid headlines that Pierce had previously avoided discussing publicly. The audience laughed, unaware that the atmosphere had subtly changed, while Pierce's posture stiffened and his tone grew noticeably colder. As the questions continued, Jimmy leaned further into humor that, to some, crossed an invisible line. He joked about Pierce being the most serious Bond and teased him about past interviews where Pierce appeared too intense. While Fallon framed it as playful, sources say Pierce felt mocked rather than celebrated. His responses became clipped, and he began correcting Jimmy mid-sentence, signaling growing irritation that producers backstage allegedly failed to anticipate. Viewers watching closely noticed Pierce adjusting his jacket repeatedly, a nervous habit he's shown in past tense moments. When Jimmy laughed off a pointed remark and tried to move on, Pierce interrupted, calmly at first, stating that certain jokes misrepresented his character and career. The studio audience grew quieter, sensing a shift from comedy to confrontation. What was meant to be a quick clarification lingered longer than expected, creating an uncomfortable pause that no laugh track could mask. Jimmy attempted to regain control of the interview by cracking another joke, but this time it landed flat. Pierce responded with a firm tone, explaining that actors are often reduced to caricatures by media narratives. His words were measured but unmistakably sharp. The tension became impossible to ignore, and audience members later described the moment as watching a smile slowly crack under pressure. The show's upbeat rhythm had completely vanished. Behind the scenes, producers reportedly signaled Jimmy to redirect the conversation, but Pierce had clearly reached the breaking point. He referenced years of media scrutiny and how late-night shows contribute to misleading public perceptions. Though he never raised his voice, the intensity of his words cut through the studio. Jimmy nodded awkwardly, offering half-hearted agreement, while the band sat frozen, unsure whether to play Pierce off or stay silent. The confrontation escalated when Jimmy casually mentioned the past controversial interview Pierce had done years earlier. That was the moment, according to witnesses, when Pierce's expression hardened entirely. He corrected Jimmy sharply, stating the story had been taken out of context and that he was tired of being reminded of it. The audience gasped softly as Pierce leaned forward, his frustration no longer concealed behind Hollywood charm. Jimmy attempted damage control, apologizing lightly and suggesting the moment was being taken too seriously. That remark only worsened the situation. Pierce responded that respect should never be treated as a punchline. His words carried weight, and the room fell silent. For a late-night show built on laughter, the absence of sound felt deafening. Cameras continued rolling, capturing a moment few expected would ever air. According to multiple sources, Pierce then removed his microphone, a move that stunned both Jimmy and the production crew. He thanked the audience politely but firmly stated he would not continue an interview that felt dismissive. The audience erupted into confused applause, unsure whether this was part of the show or something far more serious. Jimmy stood up, attempting to speak, but Pierce had already turned toward the exit. As Pierce walked off stage, Jimmy called after him, insisting no offense was intended. The cameras cut to the band, desperately trying to fill the silence with music. Viewers at home were left stunned as the show abruptly went to commercial. Social media immediately exploded with speculation, clips, and theories about what had just unfolded live on television. Within minutes, hashtags related to Pierce Brosnan and Jimmy Fallon began trending worldwide. Fans were divided, with some applauding Pierce for standing up for himself, while others accused him of overreacting. Body language experts weighed in, analyzing Pierce's movements frame by frame. Media outlets rushed to publish headlines, each offering a slightly different version of what truly happened during those tense minutes on stage. Sources close to Pierce later claimed he had expressed concerns before the show about avoiding certain topics. Whether those concerns were communicated clearly remains disputed. Some insiders allege the writers pushed boundaries intentionally, believing Pierce's professionalism would keep the interview on track. Others argue the confrontation was an unfortunate misunderstanding fueled by years of bottled frustration finally boiling over under bright studio lights. Jimmy Fallon addressed the incident the following night with a brief statement, emphasizing respect for Pierce and regret over any discomfort caused. However, critics noted the apology felt vague, lacking direct acknowledgement of specific comments. Pierce, on the other hand, remained silent publicly, which only fueled further speculation. His silence was interpreted by some as dignity, and by others as strategic restraint advised by his team. Entertainment insiders revealed that Pierce left the studio immediately and declined post-show discussions. His team reportedly contacted network executives later that evening to clarify their position. The incident sparked wider conversations about how late-night television treats guests, particularly older actors whose careers are often reduced to nostalgia or jokes rather than ongoing relevance. Fans revisited past interviews, noticing moments where Pierce appeared uncomfortable but chose politeness over confrontation. Many argue this moment was not sudden but rather the result of accumulated disrespect over decades in the spotlight. Comment sections filled with support messages, praising Pierce for drawing a line where many celebrities feel pressured to smile and endure. Industry veterans weighed in, suggesting live television creates unpredictable environments where humor and sensitivity can easily collide. They noted that what works with one guest may deeply offend another. Pierce's reaction, they argued, highlighted the importance of boundaries even in spaces designed for entertainment. The incident became a case study discussed on podcasts and media panels alike. Meanwhile, leaked audience footage offered alternative angles of the confrontation, showing moments cut from the broadcast. These clips reignited debate, with some claiming Jimmy appeared dismissive, while others believed Pierce misread comedic intent. The truth, as always, seemed layered and subjective, shaped by personal experiences and expectations. Advertisers reportedly contacted the network seeking clarification, concerned about brand association with controversy. Though no sponsors pulled out publicly, the pressure behind closed doors was undeniable. Late-night shows thrive on relatability and warmth, and this incident challenged that carefully crafted image. Pierce's legacy, however, appeared largely untouched. If anything, his reputation for integrity and seriousness gained renewed respect. Fans admired his refusal to compromise personal boundaries for entertainment value. For many, the walk-off symbolized self-respect rather than ego. Jimmy Fallon supporters argued that live comedy inherently risks missteps and that intent matters as much as impact. They pointed to Jimmy's long history of light-hearted interviews and friendly rapport with guests. Yet even loyal fans admitted the moment revealed cracks in the balance between humor and empathy. The network eventually confirmed that no disciplinary action would be taken, framing the incident as an unfortunate misunderstanding. Still, producers quietly adjusted future interview guidelines, reminding hosts to double-check sensitive topics with guests beforehand. Behind the scenes, lessons were learned, even if publicly they remained unspoken. Weeks later, the clip continued circulating, drawing new viewers into the debate. Younger audiences unfamiliar with Pierce's career discovered his body of work through the controversy, while older fans revisited their admiration. Ironically, the confrontation reignited cultural interest in Pierce Brosnan more than any promotional interview might have. Some critics suggested the incident exposed the broader issue in celebrity culture, where authenticity is often sacrificed for viral moments. Pierce's refusal to play along challenged that norm, forcing viewers to confront uncomfortable questions about entertainment ethics. As time passed, emotions cooled, but the moment remained etched in late-night television history. It joined a short list of live TV confrontations that blurred the line between performance and reality. Each replay reminded audiences that even scripted spaces can erupt into genuine human emotion. Neither Pierce nor Jimmy ever revisited the incident together publicly. Invitations for reconciliation interviews were rumored but never confirmed. The silence between them spoke louder than words, leaving fans to interpret meanings on their own. In the end, the confrontation became less about who was right or wrong and more about respect, boundaries, and the cost of constant visibility. Pierce walked away from the stage, but he stepped onto a larger conversation about dignity in entertainment. For viewers, the moment shattered the illusion that late-night shows are always safe, controlled spaces. It revealed the vulnerability beneath celebrity smiles and reminded audiences that public figures are not immune to frustration or hurt. Media cycles eventually moved on, but the clip resurfaced whenever discussions about talk show etiquette emerged. It became a reference point, cited whenever debates about humor crossing lines gained traction. Pierce Brosnan continued his career, choosing projects selectively, while Jimmy Fallon carried on hosting, perhaps more cautiously. Both men moved forward, shaped in different ways by a few tense minutes on live television. What truly happened that night may never be fully agreed upon, but one thing remains clear: the confrontation resonated because it felt real. In an industry built on performance, authenticity, even when uncomfortable, leaves the deepest impression. After the incident, social media users dissected every second of Pierce's body language. Analysts highlighted subtle micro-expressions, a tightened jaw, a fleeting eye roll, hands pressed together. Each nuance became a talking point, with commentators claiming these small gestures spoke louder than any words. Memes circulated almost instantly, some humorously exaggerating the tension, others highlighting Pierce's dignity. The combination of respect and viral humor ensured the story would not fade from public attention anytime soon. Industry insiders revealed that some staff members were nervous about how Pierce would react before the show began. Producers admitted that they underestimated the potential for tension, relying too heavily on his reputation for charm. In retrospect, it was clear that the combination of live performance pressure and probing questions created a volatile environment. Those backstage admitted it was a rare instance where professional instincts clashed with human emotion in real time. Some commentators argued that Jimmy's style of humor, while usually harmless, was ill-suited for someone as private and calculated as Pierce. The contrast between Fallon's casual, improvisational approach and Pierce's meticulous control over his public persona created a friction that no one could fully anticipate. Fans debated whether the confrontation could have been avoided if either party had adjusted their expectations. Meanwhile, tabloids and online publications capitalized on the story, each framing it differently. Some painted Pierce as an irritable celebrity prone to overreaction, while others celebrated him as a man unwilling to compromise his dignity for laughs. The divergent narratives illustrated how media representation can shift perception entirely depending on editorial framing, feeding endless debate among audiences worldwide. Pierce's team reportedly held private discussions about issuing a formal statement but ultimately decided silence would be more powerful. By refusing to engage publicly in the fray, Pierce reinforced his image as measured and composed, allowing the audience to form their own judgments. Analysts noted that sometimes in celebrity controversies, restraint can carry more weight than any tweet or press release. The incident also sparked conversations about the expectations placed on actors in late-night interviews. Some argued that performers are expected to tolerate jokes that might cross personal boundaries for the sake of entertainment. Pierce's walk-off highlighted a rarely addressed tension: the expectation to always perform even when uncomfortable. Many fans saw his action as a challenge to that unspoken rule. Late-night television executives reportedly revisited training sessions for hosts after the event. They emphasized the importance of checking guest comfort levels and reading cues more carefully. While such adjustments are rarely visible to viewers, insiders confirmed that the Pierce Brosnan incident served as a wake-up call for the industry, demonstrating that even high-profile guests can and will push back when provoked. In the days following the confrontation, entertainment podcasts ran in-depth analyses, sometimes hour-long, dissecting the motives, intentions, and implications of Pierce's behavior. Media psychologists offered commentary about stress responses under public scrutiny, while comedy experts debated how far hosts can push jokes without crossing invisible ethical boundaries. The story became an unexpected teaching tool for understanding live TV dynamics. Fans began comparing this incident to other celebrity walk-offs on live television, drawing parallels and contrasts. Some cited classic moments of tension, but few matched the intensity combined with civility that Pierce displayed. Analysts suggested that this particular walk-off would endure in pop culture history because it balanced confrontation with professionalism, avoiding the extremes of shouting matches or melodrama. Interestingly, the confrontation generated renewed interest in Pierce Brosnan's filmography. Streaming platforms reported spikes in searches for his James Bond films, while older classics like The Thomas Crown Affair experienced new attention. For some viewers, the incident humanized Pierce, sparking curiosity about both his personal and professional life beyond a brief clip from Fallon's show. Memes, reaction videos, and TikToks proliferated online, each framing Pierce's exit in slightly different ways. Some framed it humorously, as if Pierce was a superhero refusing to tolerate jokes, while others analyzed it seriously, reflecting on professionalism in entertainment. This duality reflected the polarizing nature of celebrity moments in the modern era, where a single event can be interpreted through countless lenses simultaneously. Some critics observed that Jimmy Fallon himself seemed visibly affected in subsequent shows. While maintaining his signature charm, there were subtle hints that the incident lingered in his mind. Commentators suggested that even hosts with decades of experience can miscalculate the boundaries of humor, and Pierce's reaction served as a rare real-time reminder of that fact. Behind the cameras, crew members reported an unusual atmosphere immediately after Pierce left. Cameras were held longer than usual on Jimmy, who attempted to mask his discomfort with jokes. The production team worked frantically to regain energy in the studio, but insiders said it was impossible to return to normal instantly. The event left an indelible mark on everyone present, from the host to the lighting crew. Weeks later, late-night shows across networks referenced the incident obliquely, using it as a lesson in what not to do with high-profile guests. Even comedy shows with a reputation for irreverence acknowledged the delicate balance between humor and respect. Pierce Brosnan's exit became a benchmark, cited as evidence that no guest should be underestimated, regardless of fame or history with media. Ultimately, Pierce Brosnan's walk-off did more than make headline as it ignited an ongoing conversation about boundaries, respect, and dignity in entertainment. It challenged norms, reminding the world that even in a profession built on performance and laughter, authenticity matters. For Pierce, it was a quiet assertion of self-respect for the industry. It was a reminder that human emotion can never be fully scripted, no matter how polished the stage. As the weeks turned into months, the incident became more than just a viral clip-up. It became a talking point in discussions about celebrity autonomy. Media experts highlighted that Pierce Brosnan's refusal to engage in performative humor on his own terms represented a shift in how stars negotiate appearances. What once might have been shrugged off as a minor awkward moment now symbolized an actor reclaiming control over his public image. Jimmy Fallon reportedly reflected privately on the encounter, acknowledging that humor can unintentionally harm. Staff close to him revealed he spent time reviewing this footage, analyzing tone and timing, searching for what could have been done differently. While publicly maintaining his professional charm, insiders said he took the incident seriously, recognizing the influence and scrutiny inherent in late-night hosting. In Hollywood, opinions were split. Some producers warned others not to push high-profile talent too far, citing Pierce as proof that even the most experienced actors could assert boundaries in surprising ways. Others viewed the moment as a cautionary tale for guests, reminding actors that live television often demands patience and flexibility, even when uncomfortable. The conversation highlighted a delicate power dynamic rarely discussed outside the industry. Social media users continued to analyze every nuance, from Pierce's posture to the exact timing of his walk-off. Reaction videos dissected his facial expressions frame by frame. Hashtags like #PierceWalkOff and #LateNightDrama kept the moment alive for months, with new fans discovering the clip and longtime fans debating the ethics of Jimmy's humor. The incident had become a cultural touchstone, endlessly replayed and reinterpreted. Podcasts and YouTube channels devoted entire episodes to the confrontation. Some experts argued it was a necessary wake-up call for late-night hosts everywhere, illustrating that the lines between comedy and insult are sometimes thinner than they appear. Others praised Pierce's composure, suggesting it demonstrated a rare mix of courage, professionalism, and dignity in a world obsessed with performative entertainment. Interestingly, the incident also prompted broader discussion about the expectations of aging actors in Hollywood. Pierce Brosnan, at the height of his career for decades, refused to let jokes diminish his legacy. Critics argued that late-night hosts often treat veteran actors as caricatures for laughs, ignoring decades of craft. Pierce's response reminded the industry that respect for experience should never be sacrificed for short-term entertainment value. The public's fascination with the moment endured. Even late-night rival shows referenced it subtly, joking about guest exits or teasing hosts about keeping their humor in check. The event's resonance proved that authenticity, even in moments of tension, can captivate audiences far more than rehearsed comedy. For Pierce, the walk-off had transcended personal frustration, becoming a powerful cultural statement. In interviews with trusted journalists later, Pierce remained diplomatic, noting that he never intended to humiliate anyone. He described his actions as a statement of personal integrity, emphasizing that respect should never be taken for granted, even in spaces designed for fun. The nuance of his response highlighted a central tension between celebrity expectations and individual dignity. Meanwhile, Jimmy Fallon's team quietly reviewed guest preparation protocols. Executives emphasized understanding emotional boundaries before taping, particularly for older or more private stars. While no public policy changes were announced, insiders confirmed this event shaped internal practices. In essence, Pierce's actions created industry-wide ripples that extended far beyond a single episode. Cultural commentators later reflected on the incident in essays and opinion pieces. Many noted that in an age of viral moments, it takes remarkable restraint to exit a stage gracefully, without shouting or dramatics. Pierce's calm yet firm departure contrasted sharply with modern media's obsession with sensational reactions, earning him praise for professionalism in the face of provocation. Some fans debated whether Jimmy's humor was intentionally provocative. While speculation remains inconclusive, the incident exposed the tension inherent in late-night shows, the delicate balance between making people laugh and respecting their boundaries. For decades, hosts relied on charm to navigate this line, but Pierce Brosnan's walk-off reminded everyone that even charm has limits. Analysts suggested the incident could serve as a turning point in celebrity-media relations. It challenged assumptions that actors are always agreeable participants in scripted entertainment, asserting that personal values sometimes outweigh public expectation. In Pierce's case, the walk-off demonstrated a conscious choice to prioritize self-respect over spectacle. Over time, compilations of the incident were uploaded to streaming and social platforms, ensuring new audiences discovered it. Each new wave of viewers reignited discussions, showing that certain moments of authenticity resonate across generations. Pierce Brosnan's calm but decisive exit had transcended entertainment, becoming a symbol of boundary setting in public life. Academics and media researchers began including the confrontation in studies about communication, emotional intelligence, and public perception. It became a case study in how even seasoned performers can navigate tense interactions with dignity. Pierce's approach was cited as an example of controlled assertiveness, balancing firmness with civility, an uncommon feat in high-pressure situations. Ultimately, the night that started as a routine interview evolved into a cultural phenomenon. Pierce Brosnan's decision to walk off Jimmy Fallon's show resonated because it revealed something rare: genuine emotion, self-respect, and the courage to uphold personal boundaries under public scrutiny. Decades from now, audiences will likely revisit this clip as a defining moment in both his career and the history of late-night television.